Alright, ladies and gentlemen, here's the review for your quiz. This first one is in vertex form, so it gives me the vertex HK right off the bat. And remember, we talked about how this is opposite, same. So the first thing I really want to do is just write down my vertex, 3, -2, because again, it's the opposite of what you see here and the same of what you see there. And remember that in any form on this whole page, that this vertex, I should just flip this, hold that thought, that this vertex x value is also the axis of symmetry. So x equals 3. And what we've been doing is plotting that point, 3, -2 there, and then we've been using a different color to be able to kind of draw our axis of symmetry, which I'm struggling to find another color, so bear with me a second. Didn't come as prepared as I should be, but we drew that line in there. And then we reflected a bunch of points. We talked about how the y-intercept, and this is again for any form you have to graph, 0 is the x value because it's on that y-axis and all those values have that. And then I just plug 0 in, and then again, that's for every form on here as well. So if I plug in 0 here, I get 1/3 times 0 minus 3 squared minus 2. Go plug that in your calculator. Go 1 divided by 3, parentheses 0 minus 3, parentheses squared minus 2, and it'll spit out your answer, which is 1. Right? 3 squared is 9. The third of that is 3 minus 2. And I go plot that point, 0, 1, right here. And reflected is 3 away, so I'm going to go 3 away again and put that point right there. And that point is 6, 1. So I write that in. For 9, I again go right back here and plug in 9, so 1/3 times 9 minus 3 squared minus 2. Plug it right into my calculator like that. 6 squared is 36. A third of that is 12 minus 2 is 10. So I go plot 9, 10 way up here, and it's 6 boxes away, so I go 6 boxes away right here, and it's on the edges, but it's still on our graph, and that is -3, 10. One thing we talked about as well is that the y values are always the same in these reflective points, and make sure you connect your dots. I've seen some silly points getting taken off of quizzes in the past because students don't connect their dots. I hit the edge here, and I'm not asking you for you to be perfect, but connect them. For increasing and decreasing, remember whatever this line goes through is the number you put there, -infinity over here, infinity over here, and we talked about interval notation, kind of looks like a point with parentheses around it, and we would write, well, we covered up the graph on the left side, and we say that graph is going up, so it is increasing, then that's decreasing. We are increasing from 3 to infinity, and we are decreasing from -infinity to 3. For the next problem, from the 5-2 notes, there's no b here because we said for our axis of symmetry we go the opposite of b over 2a. But if there's no b, it's 0 divided by I don't care. It's always going to be 0. And for the problem that has no b on the quiz, it should be that. Like we said before, that's always the x value of the vertex. Plug 0 in, I get 0 plus 1 is 1. So then I go plot that point, and 0, 1 right here, not on the x-axis, on the y-axis. And that is my line of reflection, that y-axis there. So when I plot these points, I plug in 1. 1 squared is 1 times -3 is -3 plus 1 is -2. Again, you can just plug that right in. 1 -2 right here reflects right here. I plug in 2. 2 squared is 4 times -3 is -12 plus 1 is -11. So I plot that point right here. Reflected 2 boxes, reflected another 2 boxes right there, and now I have those reflected points I can write in there. This is -2, -11, like that, and connect my dots. Again, we cover up that side. That is going downhill, so that is decreasing, that is increasing, -infinity, 0, infinity. They're right there set up for us. This is our increasing interval. This is our decreasing interval. Okay. On to the next is this one has a b, so when I do the opposite of b over 2a, I go -4 divided by 2 times 2, and a lot of you want to plug that into your calculator. It will not give you the right value. Okay, in this one it actually does just because of what it is, but if I go -4 divided by 2, I get -2 times 2 is -4. That's what a calculator will tell you. But if you do this math, 2 times 2 being 4, and then divide it, you'll see it's -1. And again, when I get that, it's always my x value. Go plug it in. 2 times -1 squared plus 4 times -1 minus 2. Do it right in your calculator. You get 2 minus 4 is negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. And I'm going to go plot that point, negative 1, negative 4 right here. I'm going to plug in these, and again, that gives me my line of reflection right there. I plug in 0, I get negative 2 because 0 plus 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Plot that, reflect it, and write that down, negative 2, negative 2. Plug in 3, and again, that work in your calculator will just look exactly like this. Plug it in, 9, 18. Oh, we made that a negative 3. Sorry, I forgot about that. So we're plugging in a negative 3. I did tell you that in class. I'm forgetting right now. That makes it a lot more nice. 6 minus 2 is 4. So I go to negative 3, and I go to 4, and put my dot. And then reflect it 2 lines over here, and that, of course, is 1, 4. Connect my dots, and do the increasing and decreasing thing. Again, that side, it is going uphill, increasing. So that's decreasing, and I write my intervals accordingly. Negative 1, negative infinity, and infinity. There's my decreasing interval, and my increasing interval is the other one. Okay. There's that page. Let's flip it over to the next. We're about 6 minutes in. We're doing good on time. Okay, the vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And really, again, hk is my vertex. So if I go identify this point right here as 2, 1, that is my h and my k. So I can plug those in right away. I don't know a, so I'm going to write that there. X minus 2 plus 1. Simple as that. If this was over here in a negative, I'd go minus a negative, and that would become a plus sign right there. Okay, but it's not. Of course, I got to have squared there. It's not a quadratic. And then I could pick any other point. There's a point here, 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 and here that I could plug in the x and y value. I'm just going to plug in 4, 3, but I could also use 0, 3, which is probably actually easier. I could use 6, 9. I could use negative 2, 9. Notice again these are reflective points, so the y values are the same. And I plug those into x and y. So again, I'm going to use this point right here, but it does not matter what you pick. This is y, this is x. So I plug 3 in here, a times 4 minus 2, because I'm replacing x and y with x and y. And just go through PEMDAS. Inside is 2 squared plus 1. 2 squared is 4. And what I have said to you folks is a lot of times you try and add that 4 and 1, so maybe rewrite this as 4a plus 1 equals 3, because then I think all of you know what to do. We would minus 1 and divide by the number next to the variable. And when I reduce that, I get 1/2. Those cancel. So I'm just going to go back and plug it in right there to finish my answer. And write y equals 1/2. It should be positive because it's opening up. X minus 2 squared plus 1. Done. For the next few problems here, to change to vertex form, we need to do multiple things here. The first thing is write it out like so, and just fill in the blanks. A is 2, B is negative 4, and C is negative 2. I know A is always the same in both forms, so I can fill that in right away and get a point even if I don't know how to do the rest. H, we said, was take the opposite of B over 2A. We had to do that to find the vertex on the front side too. The opposite of negative 4 is positive 4. 2 times 2 is, of course, 4. And 4 divided by 4 is 1. That gives you that value right there. Again, if this was a negative 1, you go minus a negative and make that a plus sign. Then I take 1 and I just plug it in to the x's. So I've got 2 times 1 squared minus 4 times 1 minus 2. Plug it right into your calculator. You get negative 4, which you just write there. And then you're done. And that's my k. So my k equals, plug it in. Okay? Down here, it's way easier because it's just PEMDAS. Just start working through it. 2 times parentheses x minus 3 times x minus 3 minus 5. You just rewrite it first, and then I would suggest that you FOIL it next, because when people start distributing the 2 next, it starts getting a little messier in terms of what you do. So 2 times x squared, a minus 3x, and a minus 3x gives me a negative 6x plus 9, because a negative times a negative. Really, a lot of you do this right. You just mess up signs, so please pay attention to your negatives and positives. Distribute that. 2x squared minus 12x plus 18 minus 5. and then combine like terms to get my final answer. 2x squared minus 12x, and I combine these to get plus 13. I haven't checked any of these answers, so I hope they're right. But I can kind of double check it, because if I do the opposite of b over 2a, the opposite of negative 12 is 12, divided by 4 would give me a 3, which is what I get. And then if I plug 3 in, 9, 18 minus 36 is negative 18, plus 13 is negative 5. It works. I can go back and check myself. And I could even FOIL this back out to make sure I get back to that to check myself if I wanted to. I know you won't, but you can. All right, on to the next one. Distribute 4x squared minus 12. We are almost done here. Minus 10x squared plus 12x. And that is negative 6x squared, because I can combine my like terms. The ones that I can't, again, I'm writing it in standard form, so remember that is like from highest to lowest exponent. Write that down for you. Okay. So 12x there, minus 12, and then identifying the leading coefficient, which once you do this, is just the number in front. Okay, and then that becomes, well, based on this 2, it's a quadratic. Hopefully you know that word, we've done that plenty. And there's 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. Okay. The next one, there's really no math to do, just make sure you write it in order. The negative stays on the x cubed term, and the 7x is positive. The leading coefficient is attached always to the highest exponent, and then this is a cubic because of that 3, and there's 2 terms, so binomial. This problem, you will definitely get one like this on the quiz, is really distribute that negative 1 into every term. So I got x to the 4th minus 3x plus 7 minus 4x to the 4th plus 3x squared minus 5. Remember, really what that minus does is it just takes the additive inverse, or the opposite of every term past it, and then we just combine some like terms. So I've got negative 4x to the 4th. I've got 3x squared. There's nothing else to combine it with, so I'll write that in next because there's no x cubed term. I've got minus 3x right there, and then I've got a couple of terms I do need to combine yet, which is a plus 7 minus 5, which gives me plus 2. I'll get my leading coefficients out front there if it's in standard form. There is a 4th degree here. If you remember, that is called quartic. X to the 5th, just to remind you, is quintic. And then there's 4 terms. We don't have a name for that, so we call it a polynomial of 4 terms. You can probably be rest assured I'm going to give you one that you have to write that on, and the other ones you just have to remember their names. There it is. If you have questions, make sure you're emailing me or seeing me at lunch.